All right. Hey, welcome back to I Told My Wife I'm Paying Bills. I'm Slim,
And this is Black. Once again, we are back.
and we are back. And actually, we are back for season two of our podcast. We wanted to once again thank everyone who listened to season one. If you're just starting with season two, go back and listen to season one. We had some great guests, we had some good topics. Um, we moved away from strictly games. Like we did that pretty fast. um, and we talked about games and entertainment, and that is kind of like our theme now is talking about more than just games because that's kind of like what we like, just overall geekiness type thing. So,
Mm,
but
definitely.
yeah. So, Black, what have you been up to lately? I mean, what's been good with you? Any new games, or you still stuck on Starfield?
Uh, I've been kind of bouncing around.
Hmm.
Uh, I've dedicated my weekends to Starfield.
Yeah.
Because it's just that game it just has that energy.
It's so massive, so massive.
It's just so massive. Yeah, I just can't play that during the weekday. But I'm playing the new the Phantom Liberty. I haven't beat it for the add-on for Cyberpunk,
Hmm.
the DLC,
Okay.
which is very very. I mean the things they added to that game with that expansion is just it's really really good. I have to highly recommend those who are in the Cyberpunk.
Hmm.
It's come a long way since its launch. But I highly recommend getting the Phantom Liberty because there's all types of stuff you can do on that game. I really don't want to spoil it,
Hmm.
but it's just I mean they've added so much to that game, and it's just I highly recommend it to those who are in the Cyberpunk.
Yeah. I haven't. I don't think I've. Yeah, I haven't played any Cyberpunk, so I haven't. I don't even think I touched that game. But as far as other games, I honestly have been doing the same thing you have on the weekends. I play Starfield when I get a chance. Um,
Hmm.
but for the most part, I haven't played any other games. I'm trying to find a game that I really want, that I can actually really lock onto and kind of play. But there hasn't been anything that really has caught my eye. So I'm hoping soon I will be able to.
Right, right.
I'm hoping, like, with this new batch of stuff's coming out. I mean, there is the new Call of Duty. Matter of fact, I need to ask my brother if he got it because I may get it. But that last season, man, I mean, the last not the last season, but the last game, it got to a point where they just had these people, like, when you get on as soon as you get inside the game, somebody will just, like, take you out, and it's like, "Dude, I'm just trying to do a mission, and you just take me out instantly." It's like, "Come on, man, really?"
Yeah,
So,
it's like that with Modern Warfare, man. I mean,
yeah, yeah, and
It,
so
it- it's just Call of Duty is just like that, man. It's crazy like that. That's why I didn't bother. I was like, I mean, I played Destiny 2,
mhm,
but Destiny 2 is kind of falling by the wayside as far as the story because I did not like Lightfall. I didn't even try it,
yeah.
But I've heard stories. I read up on it, and I'm like, I don't know where they're going with the story, but whatever, you
Yeah,
know. But Witch Queen was the last thing I played as far as Destiny 2, and I said, I don't know if I'm gonna go back to this game.
yeah. Well,
So,
good news is, probably by the time this drops, it will be the week of Thanksgiving. We're recording it the week before Thanksgiving, so it'll be Thanksgiving week. So we got 2 days off. Well, at least I know I do. Do you have any time off next week?
5 days.
You got
Yeah.
5 days, so you got the whole
Well,
week next
yeah,
week.
yeah, yeah. I'm taking Wednesday.
Nice.
Tuesday is going to be a short day for me.
Okay.
I'm taking Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It won't be back till Monday.
I have a half day on. I have a half day on Wednesday. You doing any traveling, or are you just gonna stay
Oh
home and
no.
and just chill?
Oh no, buddy. This is all chill time. It's
Nice,
been it's
nice.
been a crazy year.
Mhm.
I mean, as far as it's extremely busy as far as my job is. So I said myself, I said, well, I couldn't go. I don't know if I shared this with you, Chris. I think I did, but my wife ended up going, out of town.
Yeah, I remember
We
you
could
talked
not,
about that last pod.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, and I could not go, and I said, well, I'm gonna get him back sooner or later. So, and
right, right. Yeah,
I ended up,
I feel you though. I definitely would be
yeah,
feeling that. I would be like, yo, I gotta go. I gotta go somewhere. So no, but
yeah,
I bring it up. I bring up our time off because we can actually see either the Friday, even though it's Black Friday. I don't know. I don't do Black Friday shopping
no,
anymore.
sir,
So
I
yeah,
don't either.
but either the Friday, the Saturday, or the Sunday, we can jump on Gears and finish up. And we could probably do an episode right after that, so we can actually get your fresh perspective on Gears 3. So
Yeah, I would say we should do it on Saturday.
okay.
Fridays, I don't do Black Friday either, but
Mhm. Mhm.
typically, typically, I would say, Starfield. I take breaks in between throughout the
Mhm.
day. So, usually I take a break around like 4 p.m. when I'm playing Starfield,
Yeah.
and that's right around the time we do podcasts, anyways.
Okay.
So, we should definitely, play it on Saturday, and see what yeah, we should definitely play it on Saturday and do a podcast right after that.
Okay.
I'm good with
I'm all for that, definitely.
it.
'Cause I really wanna see because where I remember that we got off at, we were actually going and we were supposed to get, I believe we are going to, like, a naval yard or something like that where we were at, and that
Yep.
is pretty much almost the halfway point or over the halfway point. I think it's over the halfway point because we have to travel to this island, and that is basically the end game is the island. So
Oh, okay.
so, we can pretty much knock that out pretty quickly. We just keep rocking and rolling on that, and we can knock it out and hopefully, we can actually knock it out in, just like an hour or two. So, yeah, definitely we get on it and then, we can do a fresh podcast. If we need to take a little bit of time after, we can, but I want to get your fresh perspective on that so you can do the overall say, okay, what do you think? You know?
No, I'm with that. I'm with that.
Word, word.
And granted, we're talking about Gears 3,
Hmm.
but even after Gears 3, what do you think? Do you think we should just collaborate on the Gears 4 and 5?
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah. We could
Yeah,
definitely do that. I would
yeah,
love to do that. And it's funny too because I was talking to one of my brothers, and my brother was actually he listened, and got interested in gears. So um, I actually told him that if he wants to play, let me know. We can actually play. So I'll be playing Gears around again too. I'll do the whole thing all over again if he as soon as he tells me he's ready to start playing. But I would love to play 4 and 5 because those both of those were so good. Those
yes.
and for it to be the next generation, like after Marcus Phoenix,
Hmm.
for it to be like his son, and you know well, I don't want to spoil it because, well, it's been a year, so screw it, I can spoil it. But for it to be someone who's related to the queen,
Uh-huh.
that it was just like it was such a good story. I really like that. So yeah, we can definitely get into that when we finish off 3.
Hmm.
But today's podcast, let's talk about today. So here's the thing. This I came up with the idea for this podcast because I watched this show. And I don't know if anyone has watches these shows, but I watch like a lot of the History Channel. Most of the time, I watch it before I go to sleep. Um, Sometimes I watch it throughout the day, throughout the week, whenever what some of these shows come on. They have these shows called the whatever that built America. So they have the men that built America. They have the food that built America. Then they have a show called The Toys That Built America. Well, I was watching The Toys That Built America, and they were actually talking about the Robot Wars, basically. I don't know what the name of the title of the episode is, but the Robot Wars. The reason why it's called Robot Wars is because they're talking about Transformers and GoBots. Do you remember those?
Yes, definitely.
Yes. Yes, of course. I,
Transforming.
I asked you just for the aesthetic, but I knew you knew those. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what the thing about it is that the GoBots were sort of like the poor version of the Transformers to me.
a lot of people say that the GoBots are the poor man's Transformers. However, they beat the Transformers to market by at least, I want to say, 3 or 4 months, probably more.
Oh
Actually,
wow.
way more, because the GoBots came out in, I want to say, December of '83. Let me look at the dates. I wrote some of these dates down. Um, so yeah, the GoBots came out in December of 83, it looks like, and then in May of '84, the Transformers came out, 5 months after the GoBots.
Mm.
So, yeah, it's that's just insane. That is really
Yeah.
insane, and for the Transformers to be such a bigger property than the GoBots, that's why a lot of people thought it was that, because watching that show, it shows why a lot of more work went into Transformers, and that's why they came out a lot slower. But here's something interesting, is that the shows debuted 9 days after each other. So, the Challenge of the GoBots and Transformers TV show, the Challenge of the GoBots came out in, September 8th, 1984, and September 15th, it started its, weekly run, so, like every day during the week. Well, Transformers debuted in September 17th of 1984. So,
Oh
yeah, so even though the original Challenge of the GoBots, like, feature came out, they had, like, 5-episode feature that came out first, the Transformers came out 9 days after. Isn't that crazy?
yes, that is insane.
I mean, and
I
and
would
we
have
were
never got. I would have never guessed that.
yeah, when we were kids when all this happened, so we weren't even thinking about any of that, we were just like, "Oh, yeah, these stuff is on TV," right? So, here's something else that they brought up on that show. Do you remember the theme song to GoBots?
Yeah, I do. I think it goes like this: the go bus, and something else.
Yeah,
Am I
see?
right?
But okay, well, pause right there. Do you remember the theme song to the Transformers?
Yeah, yeah. Transformers, robots in disguise. Yeah, something like
Exactly.
that.
So that's the point they made. Most people don't remember the GoBots. The GoBots theme song is similar to what you said, but all is GoBots, GoBots, and that's
Mm,
it. They just kept saying the name over and over again because they were trying to drill it into kids' heads so they can actually sell the toys and things.
you gotta
So
be kidding me.
yeah,
Interesting strategy right there.
but it's funny because I did not remember the GoBots theme song until they actually played it, and I was like, oh yeah, that's the theme song. You know? So, that is nuts. So, all this to say, um, the GoBots, even though they were a very good property, the Transformers just surpassed them because of just little details and things like that. So, going back to what I originally started talking about, we're gonna talk about the Transformers today because, that was such a great property. Maybe sometime we'll talk about the GoBots. But that show had got me started back on the G1 series, and this G1, it's called Generation 1 because it's been retconned because there's now so many different cartoon series out. There's so many different movie properties. We're gonna talk about the actual movie, the movie Transformers, the movie. We're not talking about the Transformers movie because this is something different. No, Transformers the movie, and that's the one that came out in the '80s. I think it was '85.
1986.
86, 86. Okay, I was, a year ahead. Yeah. So, um, but we're gonna start off talking about the series that, like I was just talking about, that's debuted in September. So, you know, uh, it was some interesting starting off this series, and I'm gonna go into a little bit about the toy line and everything too. But it was interesting starting off that series because a lot of the stuff that I've been seeing, and for those who want to watch this series, if you have a smart TV and you have Pluto TV, it's on Pluto TV for free. Um, the Generation One series, they actually have a whole Transformers channel too as well. But anyway, it's interesting because right now I'm only like about 17, 18 episodes in, and everything that I thought were in other seasons is all happening in the first season. The Dinobots, they were created in, like, the 3rd or 4th episode.
Oh wow. Maybe I don't remember, but Dinobots was season one.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Insecticons. I thought the Insecticons were like another season. No, they were in episode like 7 or 8 or 9, somewhere around there, right? Right, yeah. So, and then right around episode 15, they actually changed up the intro. So, it's still the same song, but they changed up the tone of the song a little bit, and then they changed up the actual graphics of opener.
Mm.
So they actually have like them fighting and everything, and they were fighting the whole time. But they actually show like Omega Supreme, and they show other ones who come later on. But
Oh yeah, Mega Supreme Boy was he was a beast.
but uh but Jetfire slash Skyfire, right? Do you remember? You know who
Mhm.
Jetfire is, right?
Mm-mm.
So do you know who Skyfire is? Same person. It was
I
the
don't know who Skyfire or Jetfire is.
He was the original, he was the original jet flying plane, for the Autobots. He started out as a Decepticon. He was white with red trim and, like, red jet boosters and stuff on.
Oh
So,
wow.
yeah. So,
The only and well no, he was in the jet, so never mind.
what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say that I said I was about to say that the only jet I think I remember is Sideswipe, but then I remember Sideswipe wasn't a jet, he was a car.
Oh, yeah, yeah, got you, got you. Yeah, see, and it's so funny because I don't remember a lot of the names of some of them. I remember like the main names, Bumblebee, Jazz, Prowl, and different ones in there. But there were some names I was like, oh, I forgot that guy's name. I forgot the name. I remember the actual Transformer, but I didn't remember his name.
Yeah.
Mirage. I remember Mirage, and it's so funny because like it's like for one of the movies they actually mix Mirage and made him into a different car, like a Porsche or something like that for the latest movie.
Uh
But yeah, so it's been crazy, man, and they even have it's so funny how they started off kind of cheesy too because in one of the earlier episodes, they actually have the Transformers surfing. So that was actually pretty funny, you know,
yeah.
watching them surf. But, so, going back, talking about the, talking about the, toy line, um, originally Transformers, was well, not originally, continually, they're actually made by, Hasbro,
Mhm.
and of course, the GoBots were by Tonka and everything, right? So, um, what happened is, when they were actually trying to, come up with a new toy, they went searching around for looking for toys and stuff like that. Well, someone from Hasbro went to Japan and they were trying to come up with something, and when they found it, no, it was the person. He wasn't even trying to actually look for like toys back then, but he saw the toy while he was in Japan. He brought it back. And he was like, "Look at this," and he showed him He was like, "Okay, it's just a car." He was like, "Yeah, but it's more than a car." And then he transformed it right in front of him. And he was like, "Oh my gosh, we gotta go get this." They actually went and they talked to the people at Takara Toys because the toy that he brought back was a toy from the toy line called uh, Dio Diaclone. That was a toy line. Diaclone toy line, and it had like little mini figures that had magnetic feet and stuff like that that actually
Mhm.
rode inside of the different cars and different things that they actually had like jets and stuff like that. They also had different names for the robots. So that's interesting. The fact that they actually had, actual pilots, that's crazy.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, starting with that, the person, like I said, they got the toys, and actually too, here's something else that was interesting about that. They actually had to buy a remote control car, um, line because like the whole time they went to Japan, they was just like, oh, yeah, they kept trying to show them this remote control car. And the people was like, no, we want the Transformers. We want those. They didn't say Transformers. We want this, we want that stuff that's over there, and they kept showing him the car, and he was like, I think you gotta buy both. So they ended up having to buy a remote control car line as well as a Transformers.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So it was that whole situation was just nuts. They came back with the toys and they had so many different problems. They had problems with the paint lacquer. They had problems, because there was unsafe levels of lead in that paint lacquer.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, and all these different little problems they were actually thinking about retooling because they actually saw that there was no pilots. They would just bought the cars. They didn't buy the actual like toy pilots that came with the cars in
Hmm.
Japan. They
Yeah.
was just like, "Leave the seats. We'll deal with that later," you know? So, but, they did all of that, and all of those little things actually just made it just so good, like, all these little things. The fact that they were so slow with doing it is why it took them so long to come out, but they hit the mark as soon as they came out, you know? And here's something else that's interesting. Originally, when the GoBots were being named, they almost named them Transformers. One of the
You
people
serious?
yeah, one of the
No way.
people who worked on the line was on that show, and he was just like he said, he was like, "Yeah, we almost call them Transformers." And in they had, like, a little, reenactment, and the dude was like, "Yeah, nobody will understand that. Let's let's choose something else." So,
Mm.
yeah, it's just really seriously crazy, So, but, yeah, those toys have been in Japan for years, but in July '83, that's when they started looking for it, so that was really crazy. Yeah,
That is interesting. That is interesting.
yeah.
Another, just going, just piggybacking off of what you just said or what you just mentioned. Now, granted, hypothetically speaking, what if the GoBots were named Transformers? Like, what
Right.
would the Transformers be?
Exactly.
What would they have called Transformers?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, that was and it's like, what would they call it? I don't even know. I honestly, because like, I don't know, like Robot Lords or something like that. It's hilarious. I mean, because they couldn't go with the Japanese name because like it was so
Mm,
funny. The Japanese names, even the names of the characters, right? Optimus
mhm,
Prime, he was actually called Battle Convoy. Megatron was actually called Walther P-38 Uncle. That was the actual name of the characters. Like the other ones had different other names as well, but
mm,
that was the names of those characters. So in Japan, they actually had pretty much almost like literal names, and then when they brought it to America, the Americans had to they had to come up with a different story, and
mm,
that was part of it. Was the Americans needed to come up with a story because they learned from watching Star Wars with Kenner toys, the Star Wars line. People
mhm.
actually cared about a story to their toys, and that's what led them to actually when they created those toys, they actually created the comic book. They went to Marvel and had them create a comic book, and then with the comic book, they actually had them create the cartoon, you know? So the cartoon was
Wow.
already in works as well, like with the toy line. So that was just nuts, like just the way they did everything and so meticulous about it. Yeah. So um it's just really interesting the whole dynamic and of how they brought everything about, and just it was just really interesting, the cartoon, the comic book, and I really wish I had read the comics more, but I
Mhm.
I didn't. I just wasn't into that. I was just always into DC stuff. So
Right.
but I really wish I knew more about the comic because actually the comic, which we're going to talk about later too, the comic actually brought in GI Joe to the Transformer world.
What?
You didn't know that?
I had no idea.
Yeah, so somehow they crossed over. I didn't see how they did it, but they crossed over somehow. So, but anyway,
Weird.
yeah. Going back to the show, I just want to talk about the show just a little bit, and then I wanted you to kind of go into about the movie because the movie I haven't seen it in about so many years, but I remember most of it. But it's
Mhm.
been quite a few years since I've seen it. But it's just those moments that Optimus dying and Rodimus and and then
Yeah.
actually Megatron being damaged beyond repair until he
Yeah.
meets up with Unicron and stuff. So I'll let you get into that
Yeah.
in a second. However, I wanted to talk about the show a little bit. I'm only on episode 17. I'm gonna go through and watch some more. I'll probably even watch some tonight. Especially because not much has been on with the whole writer strike. Even though it was resolved now, but now everything's gonna be starting late. So, but anyway,
Right, right.
um, it's really interesting to see. They went back to Cybertron really quickly. They brought
Hmm.
Cybertron there really quickly. They had, like, different episodes, like that episode where Cybertron was brought into Earth's atmosphere. That was really crazy because it happened so quickly, and I swear that happened when it was, like, later on, but that was only, like, episode, like, I wanna say 6 or 7. It was really early on, and it was just really nuts. Um, and that was like one of those episodes when they brought Cybertron on. That's when the Transformers were surfing, so that was actually pretty funny. Matter of fact, I'm gonna use that as our Instagram post. I'm gonna put that picture up. so so that's gonna be funny. But yeah, it was really interesting to see uh like them starting out and oh man, Peter Cullen, like that voice, Optimus Prime's voice,
Yeah,
that is
man.
iconic. He's up there.
Yep.
His voice is up there with, like, Ashley Eckstein. I think I might have said her last name wrong, but, the voice of Ahsoka Tano, from, the Clone Wars,
Hmm.
her voice is and Tara Strong. Tara Strong is in almost every show from, like, the late '90s and 2000s, somewhere around there, like, every voice, like, cartoon show. She's in so many different shows. So, she plays, both female and male characters. So Tara Strong, great. Kevin Conroy, great voice. But Peter Cullen, Optimus Prime, like it was magnificent. And I saw this thing on Netflix. I think it was called The Toys That Made Us. And he actually talked about it. I believe he said that he got that voice from his brother. So, I have to watch that again, but, that was actually a really good like, I don't I gotta see how it is again, how you say that was voice, but Optimus is such a very good, cool, calm, collective leader, and, like, when he's fighting, man, he fights like crazy. He's such a good fighter?
Yeah, yeah. Optimus is on another level, and you can tell why he leads the Autobots because, and like I said, like you said,
Mhm,
we'll get into it later. But in the actual movie, there's a scenario I'm going to describe,
mhm,
that depicts everything that Optimus Prime is,
yeah,
and as far as to the Autobots and to the viewers as well.
yeah, yeah, and he he makes you like and it's so funny because there are so many people who love Megatron, who love the bad guys, who root for the villains. And I get
Mhm.
that, you got it for every good there's gotta be bad, and there's, yin and yang type stuff like that, whatever.
Right.
However, Optimus makes you actually care about his people and him. The way the
Hmm.
something about that big bot, as one of them called which one of them calls a big bot? Is it Bumblebee? Somebody calls him Big Bot. I can't remember who though.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's Bumblebee, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I think it's him.
But so many people, the just different episodes make you care, because
Hmm.
of the way he is. And
Yep.
so, it's just something about that actual character, the way he was developed, and just the different things he do, and it's so crazy because it's so hard for me to respect Megatron because Megatron is the leader of the Decepticons. Almost every episode, Starscream is trying to take over. Megatron will trip over a rock, and Starscream's like, "I'm the leader of the Decepticons now." I'm like, "What the hell?" It's like, come on, man. Ju
Oh, he paid for it dearly in the movie,
uh,
but like I said, we'll get to
oh
that.
yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Well, we're about to roll into it. I'm about to finish up with the show right now because, like I said, I've only done 17 episodes, maybe 18, whatever. But you know, it's so crazy that there was episodes where it looked like Megatron was destroyed, Starscream took over, and there's You know, there was
Starscream was always on Megatron's heels. I'm just
all the
you
time.
waiting for him to slip up every single time.
Yeah, and you know what? Let's go ahead and lead into the movie because that's exactly pretty much what happened in the movie. One of my memories is that they got into the fight, whatever. Megatron was damaged, and Starscream just straight pushed him out of Astro Train. He was
Yeah,
like, "That's it,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
over."
yeah. Yep, that's
So
exactly
so
how
go
it
ahead
went
and
down.
start rolling into the movie.
Okay, so let me. We've already said when the movie was actually when it actually came out. Um, it was released in North America on August 8th, 1986.
Mhm.
In the UK, it was released December 12th, 1986. Um, and directed by Nelson Shin. And that goes back to what you mentioned, which kind of shocked me, because when I did my due diligence back with the animated movie, which is what we're about to talk about now. You mentioned that this, Transformers was like from Japan. And I was like, now reading Nelson Shin, that makes perfect sense.
Mhm.
He directed the movie, and he has I don't know if it's a Japanese last name, but I'm assuming it is.
Mhm.
You know, so that's pretty interesting right there.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that does make sense.
Yeah. So, um, but if any, if anyone's seen the movie, which I'm pretty sure all the '80s/90s babies, I'm pretty sure they've seen that movie.
Mhm.
And the way the movie starts out, it's not even about the Autobots or Decepticons. You see these I forgot what they called them. These different type of bots.
Oh,
You know,
I think it's like the Quinticons or something like that.
yeah, the Quintessons.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
who it is. It's the
Mhm.
Quintessons. And automatically, when the movie first pops off, their planet is about to get devoured by Unicron.
Mhm.
Unicron is this gigantic planet-like robot, you know, and it was, the funny thing is, it shocked the hell out of me because I was like, how can something so massive be, I mean, it just blew your mind because Unicron was on another level.
Mhm.
So, he comes in and he destroys, devours this planet just off rip. When the movie first starts, that's what he does,
Yeah.
you know. And you see them trying to escape in escape shuttles and stuff like that. And you see some of them do, but do you remember? There's a couple shuttles that got sucked right back into them. They almost escaped, but then they get sucked right into them.
Mhm.
And you see all the ships get devoured inside of Unicron and all that stuff. And it powers him back, it powers him, gives him reserve power or whatnot. And that's how the movie starts off. So you already know you already know that I'm like, oh man, this is just another level. One thing you didn't see in the episodes as far as the TV series is that you never saw Autobots die. Autobots and Decepticons are dying all throughout this movie.
Yes, they are. They are, man. Yeah, I was just reading a little bit of the plot, and early
Mhm.
on, you lose like what 3, 4.
Yep,
Lose four Autobots like early
yep,
on. It's
yep.
crazy.
That's just in the beginning of the movie.
Mhm.
If you remember Megatron, they go into the shuttle that's going towards Earth,
Mhm.
you know, and they invade the shuttle, and I remember Megatron saying this, one of the Autobots, I forgot what his name is. I think it's the fire truck Autobot,
Mhm.
and he grabs Megatron's leg. He says no, and Megatron looks down on him. He says, "Such pathetic heroics." He blasts him, and he just literally just disintegrates him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that tells you everything you need to know
Mhm.
how this movie was going to go.
Yeah. Movie
But
movie g movie Megatron is actually less forgiving than TV show
oh, yeah.
Megatron.
Oh yeah, he's ruthless.
Yeah, yeah.
Movie Megatron, he's ruthless. But we were just talking about Optimus Prime and how and what he is to the Autobots and what he is to the viewers. And in Optimus Prime, there's a point where the auto, the Decepticons are about to attack Autobot City, you know, and that's when Hot Rod and when the movie starts out, that's when well, not starts out, but about I would say about 5 minutes into the movie, where Hot Rod is fishing with one of the I forgot what his name was, but one of the little boys or whatnot, and he's a little down because he's waiting for his dad, to come from Autobot City,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and Hot Rod tries to cheer him up, and they go off to somewhere to like a little cliff or hill or something like that. And there's another thing I wanted to mention as far as the auto Transformers the movie, the soundtrack.
Mm.
So the first
So
the
good.
first
So
song you
good.
hear is Dare, and that was from Stan Bush, you know. And Dare was like, I was like, oh wow. I mean, it just pulls you into the movie. It gets you interested. If Unicron wanting to know.
That soundtrack is peak 80s, like
Oh
just
my,
straight
yo, that
strong
soundtrack
80s.
is killer, Chris. That soundtrack is so good, and I don't care what nobody say. Look. I don't mind saying it. I'm from a rough part of the Bordeaux,
Uh-huh.
but when I say that soundtrack, hearing that heavy metal, everything in that soundtrack, you know, matched all the events that was going on into in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean that soundtrack was just off the chain to me. It pulled you in. If you wasn't pulled in before, it pulls you in. So when you heard Dare, and you had got Hot Rod,
Mm-hmm.
going to the cliff or whatnot. Well, once they get to the cliff, they're waiting for the shuttle to come in because, like I said, he's down about his dad. He's waiting for his dad. So the shuttle comes in, but there's something wrong.
Mm.
You know, the kid spots that there's a hole in the shell. He tells
Yeah.
Hot Rod, and Hot Rod's like, "What?" And he looks and he's like, he starts seeing Decepticons flying out the shuttle. He's like, "Oh, what Decepticons?" You know, Hot Rod starts shooting at him, and the old Autobot, I forgot what his name is. Uh, oh my goodness, I forgot what his name is.
Ultra Magnus?
But no, not Ultra Magnus.
You said though.
It's the old Autobot that rolls with Hot Rod throughout the movie. Um, but either which way, on his way to the cliff, he's bringing out, the old Autobot is like kind of like working with other Autobots to kind of like he's doing something, but you know, being a Hot Rod is like sort of like a young Autobot. He
Mm-hmm.
go he barrels right through whatever they're doing. They're doing some type of work, but he barrels right through it. And the old Autobot, he's like, I'll straighten you out yet. you
Is
know,
it Cup? Is it?
Cup. That's his name. Yup, Cup. That's
Yeah,
his
okay.
name.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
just
so
looked it up.
so yeah, so Cup, uh, because he's pretty much with Cup throughout the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
So but anyways, fast forward, the Decepticons start attacking Autobot City, off rip. So, they're sending out distress signals, to Optimus Prime where he's actually at, you know, to Autobot City, and they're trying to get Prime and everybody else to come through there because they're literally getting ate up by the Decepticons. They're just it's going down,
Mm-hmm.
as we would say.
Yeah.
So you know, he ends up, Optimus Prime and a couple other Autobots, they end up getting the transmission. They're on their way. But I mean, when Devastator, and for those who don't know who Devastator is, you know, uh, he's pretty much, the Constructicons. Uh, they can all form this gigantic robot called Devastator.
That's another one that was in like the first season.
Hmm.
Devastator. I didn't realize Devastator was in the first season in the first like 20 episodes. Crazy.
Yeah, yeah. So Devastator, you think, oh man, Autobot, uh, you think that oh man, God, Autobot City is done, you know. because I'm thinking they're attacking Autobot City,
Mm-hmm.
and they're waiting for them to priming them to come from uh what's the name of the city?
Cybertron.
Cybertron. That's
Mm-hmm.
where they're coming from. Cybertron. I had it all mixed up, but priming them is coming from Cybertron. And they're Decepticons are blitzing the Autobot City. So all throughout, fast forward, Optimus Prime gets to Autobot City, you know, but he realizes something, and this is to me, this is what who Optimus Prime is. He's a leader, he's a hero, and what he says will stick. It has stuck to me even to this day.
Mm-hmm.
When he realized that, he was like, "Well, look, Megatron," and he these words, I quote, "Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost." So he already knew, I may not come back from this,
Mm-hmm.
but he's got to be stopped. So once he says those words, he transforms into the truck, and you start hearing that other song from Stan Bush, "You Got the Touch."
Yeah. That's
You remember that, right?
that's the key song right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody remembers that song because they remember what Optimus Prime does. That song pops off. Optimus Prime goes out, and when I say the guy, the Decepticons are shooting at him, and it's like all the lasers and stuff is bouncing off of him in truck form. Then he boosts, and I don't know if you remember this, but he boosts and he flies up in the air. And Autobots can't fly, so he's kind of like floating up in the air
Mm-hmm.
off the boost, and he's literally taking out Decepticon after Decepticon with one shot. It was the sickest thing I've ever seen in my life. I was like, he's literally just taking them all out. One shot, boom, 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 boom. Then he gets to Megatron, and he says, "One shall stand, one shall fall." And Megatron says this: "Why throw away your life so recklessly?" And he says, Optimus Prime looks at him and says, "That's a question you should ask yourself." you know. So I'm like, it was just the perfect scenario, and you already know, hearing that song "Dare" and seeing them fight, you know, it was one of the sickest fights that I've ever seen, and
Mhm.
I knew Optimus Prime would prevail, but not without a fatal wound, you know, and at the end of the day, Hot Rod comes out of nowhere. He's like, "No, you don't, Megatron," because Megatron tried to pull a laser gun on him, on Optimus Prime, after he was already, Optimus Prime had already put him down, you know.
Yeah.
But he go grab Hot Rod, and he says, you know, and he shoots Optimus Prime, which was the saddest. I was a kid. I was a huge Transformer fan.
Mhm.
Okay, what nobody says, but Optimus Prime, being fatally shot, you know, had me. I was damn near in tears. My eyes was watering up because I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a
you know.
lot there's a lot of people who actually say that's one of the traumatic moments of the '80s for kids,
Mm.
that's up there with, Atreyu's horse. It's from the Never Ending Story, so
Yeah, for never in the story. Yep,
yeah.
exactly.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but
That was that was that was damn near
that
devastating
moment,
because
like, the deactivation moment when he goes dark and then they actually
yeah,
made him go
man.
gray too, it was
Yeah,
like,
man.
man, you
Yeah,
knew
man.
he was gone.
Yeah, he's gone. He's gone. It screwed me up because I was like, oh my. I said, he's dead. He's dead. I mean, I haven't had an experience like that. You know, I can tell you the closest experience like that I had, as far as witnessing somebody die, that was a character that I was really, really, really into,
Mhm.
and that was Arthur Morgan, Red Dead Redemption 2, when he died,
Uh-huh.
and it was like I couldn't believe he died. You know, I had no idea. It hit me hard because I was like, you get in these characters, and Optimus Prime, he was just that guy. He was just that character that just lured you to him. You
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so I mean, when he died, it was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, he's dead for real. He's dead.
That goes back to what I was saying, he they made you care about Optimus, you know?
Yeah,
And
man.
he was just such
Yeah,
a good leader and everything he did, he was just you know, that's the one character. All these other Autobots were cool and all that, but
yeah.
Optimus is the one that they made you care about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because you don't, for some odd reason, you didn't. It's like you wasn't attached to the rest of them like you were with Optimus Prime.
Mhm.
You know, Prime just, he was different. He had a different energy, man. You know.
But man, so yeah, and so I'm seeing here, yeah, it goes in and his death scene, and the whole time, after that, Megatron gets away,
Hmm.
and then that's when Starscream pushes him out of Astro Train. When they get away, pushes
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
yeah, pushes him out of Astro Train, and then uh he takes over the leadership of Decepticons. And then while Junk Megatron and a couple other Decepticons who were damaged are floating through the sky,
Hmm.
Unicron finds them and basically reformats them into
Yep.
new Decepticons. But it's like, his versions of Decepticons. They fly back to Cybertron, and this is when they actually take on um Starscream, right when he's
Yeah.
about to be crowned.
That's right. During the coronation ceremony. Yep.
And
I
that
remember that like it was yesterday because it was so funny because I'm like, finally. But Megatron had to actually die and come back. He didn't die, but he was damn near. You know, he was damn near death by the time saw him. Or Unicron found him. And
yeah.
it's crazy when Unicron found him going back because uh Unicron says, "I've summoned you here for a purpose." And you know how Megatron is,
Yeah.
very cocky. Nobody summons Megatron. Unicron says, "Well, it pleases me to be the first."
Yeah. And it's like really Megatron. You've been defeated so many times. It's like, come on, have a little bit of just humble yourself, dude.
Yeah, yeah. But he wasn't like that. No matter what, he just you would never. But I guess that's why Starscream was on his heels so much. He was like, man,
Hmm.
you keep getting beat.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, anybody be would. You keep seeing your leader get beat. It's like, man, I could do this. You know. So yeah, but we're gonna fast forward a little bit. So uh, you know, Megatron takes back over, and once they find out that Optimus is dead, they try to go get the Matrix.
Yep, exactly. Yeah,
Now,
yeah,
I'm trying to see. I'm wondering why Unicron sent him after the Matrix. Was it because Unicron knew that the Matrix would be the one thing to destroy him? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's what it
It's,
looks
it's
like.
the one thing, why he's having this conversation before he gives Megatron a new body and calls him Galvatron afterwards.
Hmm.
You know, it's because Unicron stated that it's the one thing, the only thing that can stand in his way. Because what's Unicron doing? Just sucking up planets left and
Hmm.
right. To sustain energy or whatnot.
Right.
So it's the one thing and the only thing that can stand in his way, and he needed someone to go after and get the Matrix or destroy the Matrix or whatever.
Hmm. Yeah. So. Yeah, that was actually a good part of the storyline too. Because like something else I forgot I'm reading here now. Ultra Magnus is the one who ended up with the Matrix.
Yep, it
Uh,
was passed on to him
yeah, yeah,
before Prime died. Yep.
yeah. So I had completely forgot that.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, it was
then
passed on to Ultra Magnus, but Ultra Magnus and you learn this throughout watching the movie. Ultra Magnus was never meant to be the one who holds the Matrix. It was
mhm,
meant for someone else, and you find that out later on in the movie
right.
who it was actually meant for.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Another Prime Rose. And then
Mhm.
um and then so going on, they attack, and it looks like they actually try to get the Matrix. They damage Ultra Magnus.
Yeah, they blow him up.
Oh man, yeah, they damage. Oh yeah, he gets like basically almost killed, really. And they
Hmm.
have to go to the Junkacons planet, which is
Yep.
funny because the Junkacons they got the ones where um they got the one that talked really fast from the Micro Machines guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
yeah.
had that.
The little bots.
Hmm.
Hmm.
They had him and is
I think his name
Retgar.
was Willie.
Retgar. That's the one I was reading. It says his name. The Junkacons led by Retgar.
Okay, yeah, the Junkions.
Hmm.
But if you go back a little and you realize that oh yeah, I forgot where to get Willie from. Willie is from the planet that Cup and Hot Rod land on with the Sharkticons.
Hmm.
You know, you know that planet that they get on there where they're trying all these all these different type of bots, and the judgment is a farce,
Yeah.
and whatnot. The whole court is a farce.
Yeah.
They get stuck on this planet because and that's when
The
you hear that song.
Quintessons.
Yeah, yeah. You hear that song called Nothing's Gonna Stand in My Way.
Hmm.
And they're on this planet and he's got this octopus robot destroy no, it's like I think this is like a squid robot
Hmm.
and destroys Cup, not destroys him, but kind of like takes his leg off or something like
Yeah.
that. And he's like, man, fix me. He said, sure, Cup, no problem.
um. So yeah. So the Quintessons they had that was just called kangaroo courts. They could just
Yeah.
execute them. Um. So after all of that happens, uh Ultra Magnus, they go to the junk planet, whatever, the Junkions or whatever.
Yeah,
They're the
Junkion.
ones who actually repair Magnus, Ultra
Yep,
Magnus, and then
they're
they
repairing him.
go and they go to attack they go to attack, was it is it Unicron? See surviving
Yeah,
spaceship.
yeah, yeah. They go
Yeah.
they go to attack
Yep,
Unicron.
they go to attack Unicron because they fly through his left eye.
Yep.
Nice.
Which was pretty funny.
Yeah. So when they go to attack him, also what happened, I skipped over. Um, the Decepticons try to attract the Decepticons attack and with Galvatron, and then they end up all get swallowed up by Unicron with the Matrix. So they're all
Mm,
inside of Unicron. The
yeah.
Autobots attack Unicron, and so when they're attacking, they end up like just winning. They go in and go in hard, and they end up winning.
Mhm.
But right before, right before the major moment, I would say like that, Galvatron tries to actually work with Hot Rod to take out Unicron, which just goes around shows Megatron how much of a punk he is. He goes and he's trying to take him out, and the whole time it's that's the funniest part. I remember a little bit about that because
Mm.
Megatron does weird stuff like that, the whole time. But you know, uh, the whole time he's trying to do that, they're inside Unicron. It's like how are you gonna try to form an alliance if you're inside the thing that you're trying to take out? But anyway.
Well, you got that. But if we go back a little bit,
Hmm.
if you remember, every single time that Galvatron tries to kind of like buck,
Hmm.
Unicron does that like energy thing and it messes with his head and it makes him submit automatically.
Right. Yeah.
Because
And that's probably what made him turn against
yeah,
Hot
that's what
Rod
made him
and
turn.
fight. Yeah, and try to fight
Yep.
Hot Rod.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the thing that kicked off, if you remember, is that once Galvatron got the Matrix, you know, he had already had in his mind once he killed Ultra Magnus, he
Hmm.
already had in his mind. He was like, "Yeah, now I got the one thing you fear, Unicron," and because remember they go to Unicron, and Galvatron and the rest of the other ones that's with him. He goes to Galvatron to Unicron, and he says this. He says, "Unicron, answer me. I have what you most fear."
Hmm.
Unicron is like irate. he's
Yeah.
he, he's really mad. So he says, you know, in time I was considering sparing your wretched planet, Cybertron, but now it's going to be its dismemberment and Unicron transforms.
Yeah, yeah. He turns into the giant robot.
He turns into that giant robot.
And what's funny about that too is he tries to do that, but he can't get the Matrix. He can't use the Matrix.
He can't use it.
Yeah.
It's not meant for him.
Yep.
Yeah. So you know, he's fighting with Hot Rod or
Mhm.
what, because he catches Hot Rod inside of Unicron,
Yeah.
you know, and if you remember, you know, Unicron is like hitting him with, you know, in car form. He
Mhm.
keeps smacking him, and you know, and eventually Galvatron caught on to what he was doing, and he ended up catching him in car form, and Hot Rod transforms, and you know, Unicron starts to, you know, I mean, I'm sorry, Galvatron starts to strangle him. He's
Mhm.
like, first Prime, then Ultramagnus, now you. It's a pity you Autobots die so easily, or I have a sense of satisfaction.
Yeah.
And that's when Hot Rod grabbed the Matrix, and then you heard the song again,
You
Dare.
got the
I mean,
touch.
well, not Dare, but you got the touch.
Yeah.
And once he touched it, the Matrix did something you never seen it do the whole movie.
Mhm.
You know, it started lighting up, glowing, all that stuff. You
Yeah.
know, no, I'm sorry,
I
scratch that.
it's
You did
it's
see it do it
separated.
before. Yeah, yeah, you did see the Matrix do that. It glowed before, but it was when, if you remember, when Prime died, you know, when he's passing on the Matrix, Hot Rod, once he grabbed it to pass it on to Ultra Magnet, it started glowing.
Mhm.
And I didn't pay attention to that, and I didn't pay attention to that until after the movie was. I was like, whoa, it did glow when Hot Rod touched it the first time,
Mhm.
you know, and when he passed it to Ultra Magnet, it went back out.
Yeah.
So it was always meant for Hot Rod to get it.
Yeah. Yeah. So and then he turned from Hot Rod to Rodimus Prime, and
Then
that was
Rodimus Prime,
so dope. That was so dope.
yeah, he won't no joke, man. He won't no joke, you
Yep.
know. He just takes Galvatron and just tosses him so hard that he tosses him through Unicron. He just goes out to outer space.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but and they ended up, taking out Unicron as the robot too, right?
yeah,
Unicron's still
yeah.
the
As the
robot.
robot,
Yeah.
as the robot, you know, it's like it's crazy because you see him falling apart.
Mhm.
Like all types of stuff is going on inside him, explosions and all this stuff.
Yep.
And then he just, you know, I don't know if you noticed in the movie that, you know, he goes to grab his leg and his leg blows off.
And
I'm
all
like,
that's left is just his head. His head is
yeah,
just
that's
floating
it.
around. So,
That is it. That's all that's left.
and I slightly remember that because I remember before I actually saw the movie,
Mhm.
I just remember seeing the head in other episodes, after I saw the movie. But now I'm trying to remember, like, I'm like, do I remember that or not? Because it's funny because now, like, everything that I remember is slightly different. So all that's weird, you know?
Yeah, that is pretty weird.
I'm interested to see um how much of that is true as I go along because I'm still watching, and I'm still in some seasons. I didn't see how many seasons total. I need to look and see how many total seasons is on the original series. Um,
Mhm.
it says it's 96 episodes, 4 seasons. So, um, and it looks like I guess I'm already in season 2 then because it says 16 episodes are in season 1 and I'm already hit 17, so I'm in season 2. So yeah, I guess when they changed up the opening, that was the
Mhm.
beginning of season 2. But for some reason it didn't say season 2 when I looked on it on my on the smart TV. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, if you got a smart TV and you got Pluto TV, watch it. It's so good. It's so nostalgic. It's so good. Um so going back, like I was saying, going back to the TV show though, I'm gonna keep watching it a little bit more. But that TV show spawned, and just the whole line spawned other TV shows like Beast Wars and other ones. I think it was like the fight for Cybertron or something like that. It spawned video games. Have you ever played any Transformers video games?
I have not. I
Okay.
have not played any Transformers video games.
Yeah. So Transformers video games, I think I've played like one, maybe two, but it wasn't that fun to me at the time. But maybe because at the time I really wanted to play something else. So I need to
Most
see
likely.
and I tried to look on Game Pass, but I didn't see anything that was interesting.
Yeah,
So
I mean, you know how sometimes like movies or animated movies to video games, or anything from TV going to video games, you have to. It's always like you, it's almost like majority of the time it just doesn't work out.
mhm,
You know,
mhm,
because I could tell you one game, and this will be for later.
yeah.
But I'll tell you one game that was good from from film to game, and that was Batman Returns. But uh, but back to Transformers.
Yeah, yeah. That was actually a really good game. They had a lot of the elements of the stuff in there. But anyway, yeah. So back to Transformers. It spawned many games. Neither of us really played any of the games, but the current movies. So, um, how many of the current movies have you actually seen?
I've seen I've seen the original one, the first one that came out.
Mhm,
Because one thing about it, it was that Bumblebee played, huge parts in all the movies.
mhm.
He's a character everybody knew, who Bumblebee was.
You're right. Yeah.
Now, granted, he wasn't a Mustang,
Mhm.
in the series. He was just, he was literally a bug, a Volkswagen bug
Yeah, yeah.
beetle. Yeah.
And he ended up having to be. So the reason with that, he ended up having to be a Chevy. What was it? A
Oh, yeah,
Chevy
yeah. I'm sorry, he
Camaro.
wasn't a Mustang.
Yeah.
He's a Camaro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was a Camaro. So the reason why
yeah.
he had to be a Camaro is because of licensing. However, for the Bumblebee movie, they were actually able to get the license for that, and he ended up being a Bumblebee in that.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay.
So you never seen the
Yeah.
Bumblebee movie?
No, no, because I didn't like Bumblebee as a Transformer. To me he was a bit corny. I
Mhm,
never liked Bumblebee. Like Optimus Prime, Sideswipe, which is what I remember.
mhm,
Uh, I forgot the helicopter Autobot. Oh, if I'm not mistaken, his name was what was his name?
helicopter,
I forgot.
helicopter.
I forgot because he was in
He was a triple changer, right?
yeah, yeah, he was in the animated movie. You know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? He was actually in the 1986 movie. So I forgot what his name was, but some of the Omega Supreme,
Mhm,
some of the Decepticons, uh, my favorites, like Cyclonus, that was part of the Galvatron's people.
mhm.
But Bumblebee I just never liked Bumblebee.
Yeah, okay. I don't really think I have a favorite other than Optimus. I'm trying to remember if there's anybody else I like more. Well, I could actually say, Perceptor. Yeah, the microscope, I thought he was pretty cool,
I could
and
tell you, what Decepticon was real cool,
mm,
and I always respected him. I always liked him, but he was Megatron's right hand man. Can you guess?
oh, yes. Oh, man. I cannot believe, uh, it's not Shockwave, is it?
No, it's
It's
Soundwave.
Soundwave. Soundwave.
Soundwave.
Yeah, 'cause, I
Yep.
get those 2 confused.
Yeah.
Shockwave is the one that was on Cybertron that turns into, like, a laser pistol, and
Right.
Soundwave is the one that's the radio, and that's what I was
Yep.
gonna say too, Blaster, that's another Autobot that I actually like.
Yeah. Blaster is cool. I love
Yeah.
Blaster. Yep. Yep. Blaster's cool.
So, yeah, Soundwave was dope because Soundwave have those cassettes,
Yeah,
and
man.
he had Rumble. Rumble was just crazy. Rumble
Yeah,
was
yeah.
nuts.
Rumble was off the chain.
So going back into the film series, the live action film series, it was Transformers in 2007,
hmm
Revenge of the Fallen in '09, Dark of the Moon in 2011, Age of Extinction in 2014, The Last Night in 2017, and then Bumblebee was 18, and Rise of the Beast was this year in June. So
So which one had the Dinobots in it? Was that Age of Extinction?
yes, yeah, that's the one that had the Dinobots. Um, and that one, can't remember if I liked that one or not. I saw it, and I think like the Dinobots wasn't really utilized. Like they didn't even transform it to my knowledge that I remember. I don't remember them actually
No.
transforming into actual robots.
And you just hit the nail on the head of why I don't really like any of those movies because in all reality, I mean, based off when you look at the cartoon is so nostalgic from the 80s,
Hmm.
you know, and you look at what they made the movies to be. I understand that there's certain things that's got to be different or whatnot because of special effects or whatever reason.
Hmm.
It didn't hit me, I mean, they did a pretty good job on Prime, you know.
Yeah,
Um, but it just didn't hit me like, I mean, I just remember all my nostalgia comes from the 80s, the cartoons or whatnot, and the movie, and I'm like, this is all right. But I guess this is
yeah,
new age Transformers, so it ain't gonna pull me in like
yeah.
that.
Well, Revenge of the Fallen was actually pretty cool. I like that one. The original just gave me like, I mean, it was cool. It seemed like they tried to rush. They just like threw a whole bunch of stuff on the wall and see if it sticks type deal.
Yeah,
But
man.
I did like the first couple ones, and then it was pretty funny too, the whole Sandwich Wiki thing. I didn't realize that I didn't realize until later that the whole that Spike and Sparkplug, they were all Wikis, so that's why they named Sam Wiki that person. So I didn't even realize that from the cartoons.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Spike and Sparkle, I remember.
yeah, so I didn't know that their last name was Witwicky this whole time until the live action movies came out. So that was pretty
Mm.
funny. But Bumblebee and Rise of the Beast for me were the best out of them, just because I think by now that they listened to the fans, they heard what the fans wanted, and they knocked out all that extra crap. However,
Mm.
here's what's funny about it too. Bumblebee Bumblebee was the first one that wasn't directed by Michael Bay.
Mm.
So, all these other ones, there's actually one that's coming out in 2024 as well. And that one's called Transformers 1. That's probably gonna be, one that's connected to G.I. Joe. But, uh Bumblebee was directed by Travis Knight, and Rise of the Beast was directed by Stephen Caple Jr. Stephen Caple Jr.
Mm.
So those two, they actually do have a different feel to me. They actually have a closer to nostalgic feel to me. Um, and I mean, Bumblebee was close, but it wasn't like as good as Rise of the Beast. Rise of the Beast, it was way more of a nostalgic feel to me, actually. So,
Mm.
and actually, if I remember correctly, I think Rise of the Beast actually had Unicron in it. If I can remember correctly. Um, but
I think it does because I heard that Unicron was supposed to make a pen, but at that point I had already given up on any
yeah,
Transformers movie. So
and
I was like, well, I'll hear about it and let it be what it is. Maybe I'll catch it sometime on regular TV or regular cable or whatnot.
yeah, and the last night they tried to put Unicron in it. They tried to say Earth was really Unicron, but I was like, whatever, man. I was like,
Yeah,
nah.
you see what I'm talking about? I'm like, well, how's Earth Unicron? But Unicron, I just that type of stuff right there just annoys me because I'm like, come on, you can. I understand you got to make some changes,
Yeah.
but
Hmm.
come on, Earth being Unicron,
Yeah, they
really?
ended up having Unicron spikes starting to come up out of the earth in different places, and it was just
Oh my
crazy.
god.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You didn't miss
Yeah,
anything on that one.
see, that's why, Chris. That's why I
Yeah,
ran away from those theories. I just wasn't feeling it, man.
yeah, yeah. It was really it just got really ridiculous at some point. And then there was one point where one of the knights or something like that, one of the guards of one of the things they were doing
Mm,
was about to kill Optimus Prime with a sword, and then Cade Yeager, which is played by Mark Wahlberg, he like
mm,
holds up a sword. He tries to block and save Optimus, and he does, because like whatever symbol that they gave him turns into a sword, and it stops. And I'm like, this big robot is about to swing a sword down, and this dude stops it. I'm like, really? Come on,
Yeah,
man.
man. Yeah,
So
it's crazy. And I remember, yeah, Wahlberg did start starring in the Transformers in the later ones.
hmm yeah.
At
So
first, it was the other guy that I forgot what his name was.
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
hmm
Who actually went crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, though, now though he's a lot different now. He's actually better. He's actually, yeah. That's a whole nother story. But anyway.
Yeah. We ain't gonna cover that, but yeah, I remember LeBeau, and I remember the first one I watched had him starring in it.
hmm
And then I remember later on it was Mark Wahlberg. I think he was in the Dinobots one too,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. Right?
Yeah, he was in. I want to say he was in there because, yeah. So he had two with Megan Fox, Transformers and Revenge of the Fallen, and then Dark of the Moon. Uh, I'm trying to remember. I think he was in Age of Extinction as well. No, Age of Extinction I think was the first one with Cade Yeager, I believe.
Okay. I probably don't. I don't even remember what he looks like, but yeah.
Yeah, Mark
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg. That's Cade Yeager is Mark Wahlberg's character.
Okay. Oh, that's who he plays as.
Right, yeah, yeah. So the
Okay.
last one was Sam Witwicky, with Shia LaBeouf, was actually Dark of the Moon, and that's when he had a
Yeah.
different girlfriend.
Got it.
So yeah. So but either way though, I don't want to actually, down anyone's, because there are people who love this series.
Yeah. I'm not gonna. You know how I am, Chris.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
I feel a certain type of way, you're always the optimist. I'm more of the pessimist in anything. So yeah. No, I totally understand because there's a lot of folks who out there who love the whole series.
Yeah, yeah.
None of
But
those movies can
but
do it.
but we'll say this though, the series wasn't for us.
No. It wasn't for us
The
old school guys.
first part. But look, trust me, if you got Paramount, watch it. It's on Paramount Plus right now. Rise of the Beast. Watch that one. That will give you the nostalgia feel. You trust me, that one you'll enjoy that one. Bumblebee, you may or may not. Bumblebee will be like towing the line for you.
Mm.
I enjoyed it, but it might be towing the line for you. However, Rise of the Beast was more nostalgic and it was really good. So check that one out if you get a chance. I really like that one. So anyway,
Okay.
and actually too, in Rise of the Beast, they actually have a little bit of a nod to GI Joe in there. So you'll see it. I don't want to tell you too much, but yeah, that one is where you'll see a little nod to GI Joe. But anyway, um,
Oh, speaking of GI Joe, hint future podcast.
Oh, definitely. We can definitely do that. I still got some GI Joes in my closet right now that
Oh my goodness,
hoping
man!
I can give to a grandchild.
you talk about nostalgia. Oh my
Mm, yeah,
goodness.
yeah. So, and I'm gonna see if I can find some of those episodes to watch. We can actually watch some of those. I think I've played some GI Joe games before too.
Mm,
I think GI Joe has some video games that I could probably talk about too. But anyway, there was a whole bunch of stuff. There was actually a GI Joe movie that you should check out. I think it wasn't Sigma. It was called something else. I forgot what it was. So I'm gonna look that up and I'll tell you about that one later. But yeah, future podcast, definitely we talk about GI Joe. So
yeah. I've seen both movies. Well, maybe they had more than two. I don't know if I saw three, but I saw two of the GI Joe movies. So, but anyway, back Transformers.
yeah. So, but anyway, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. Um, we wanted to thank y'all for listening, coming back for season two. We're gonna try to go ahead and talk more about games. So hopefully the next one will be about Gears of War. We're gonna go ahead and go into some other games. I kind of want to talk to you about Starfield a little bit too. So we might do a Starfield podcast. Um,
Definitely.
I finally did. I see what you're talking about, and I didn't join the Crimson Fleet until just recently. I think it was like last week or the weekend before. Now I'm part of the Crimson Fleet, and now I have that other ship, the prison ship. So, um,
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're investing pretty good in that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So,
Mm.
yeah, we can actually talk about some more games later on. Um, But either way, for now, we're gonna go ahead and cut the podcast here. And we want to thank y'all for listening. Um, if you want to reach out to us, you can email us at toldmywifepodcast@gmail.com. You can hit us up on Instagram, Told My Wife Podcast. You can find us on Facebook. I told my wife I'm paying bills. And just communicate with us. Let us know. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. If you got some ideas, send some ideas. We're gonna try to have some more guests. We're gonna actually try. We're working on doing a sports podcast. Unfortunately, neither of us play sports games. So we're gonna try and find some sports gamers so they can actually talk about that. But either way, though, we're gonna work on some other games and some other themes to go through. So either way, keep listening. Thank you for listening. Now, Black, you got
Yeah.
anything you want to say before we sign off?
Well. I'm just piggybacking on what you just mentioned. So, all you 2K gamers and Madden gamers, yes, we're trying to find some folks to talk about those type of games.
There you go. Definitely, definitely. I might have to get some family members in on that. So, hopefully they can actually, talk about some of these games for us. So anyway. All right. Well, we wanted to once again say thank you for listening. And I'm Slim,
And I'm Black.
and we are signing off for today. Hopefully coming back to you with season 2 with our Gears of War podcast. Have a good one, everyone.
All right.